Imagine finding like a literal lottery ticket, just
Yeah.
the golden ticket that guarantees your family's absolute freedom for generations.
Right. It's the ultimate dream. Total salvation.
Exactly. It's your ticket out of poverty, out of fear, all of it.
Yeah.
But the second you claim it, your house is burned to the ground.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you become a hunted fugitive, and your entire community just turns into a pack of starving wolves.
So instead of a shield, you've basically just painted this massive target on your own back.
Completely. And welcome to another deep dive, where today we are unpacking that exact terrifying dynamic.
It's such a heavy topic, but so important.
It really is. And we're pulling from a beautifully rendered source for this. It's a Turkish translation of John Steinbeck's classic novella, The Pearl.
Ah,
The specific edition we're looking at is titled Inchi, published by Selyenyanchuk, and it features this really fantastic translation and a brilliant preface by Thomas Uyar.
the preface is just incredible.
It sets it up so well. And our mission today is to figure out how a story about a literal miracle, a stroke of pure luck, transforms into a brutal mirror reflecting systemic oppression, human greed, and, honestly, the destruction of innocence.
Yeah, the context here is super vital for understanding that mirror. I mean, Steinbeck, who obviously won the Pulitzer for The Grapes of Wrath and later the Nobel Prize, he drew this narrative from a Mexican folktale he actually encountered while traveling in Baja California.
Right, so it has those folktale roots.
Exactly. But he infused it with his own observations of, like, labor dynamics and extreme poverty in the Americas.
So it's not just a simple fable about greed being bad.
Not at all. It's this precise dissection of a colonial hierarchy, one that's been entrenched for, 400 years. And it shows what happens when someone at the absolute bottom of that hierarchy tries to bypass the whole system.
And we see that hierarchy instantly, right? Starting from a place of total fragile peace. We meet Kino, who is an indigenous pearl diver, his wife Juana, and their infant son, Coyotito.
They're just living their lives on the beach.
Yeah, in a brush house. And Steinbeck uses this brilliant auditory motif. Kino hears this internal music, which he calls the song of the family.
Which is such a great concept. It's this rhythm of safety, warmth, and just quiet survival.
But it's a really delicate ecosystem. And it shatters in like a matter of seconds.
Literally seconds.
Decades.
A scorpion crawls down the rope of the baby's hanging box and stings Coyotito.
And that internal music violently shifts, right? It becomes the screeching song of evil.
Yeah, that piece is just gone. And this forces Kino and Juana out of their isolated safety on the beach, and they have to go into the town to seek help from the local doctor.
Which is a huge deal. That physical journey from the brush houses on the beach to the stone and plaster houses of the town, it illustrates this massive societal chasm.
The doctor is basically the embodiment of that chasm. I mean, he's a descendant of the European colonizers.
Lounging in a red silk robe from Paris, sipping hot chocolate.
Exactly. He's just longing for this civilized life back in France. And when he's told an indigenous baby was stung, his response is just repulsive.
He actually asks his servant, "Am I a veterinary?"
Yeah, he equates them to animals, and he demands payment up front. But Kino only has, 8 ugly, misshapen seed pearls.
So the doctor flat out refuses to treat a dying child. Just shuts the gate.
Because for the doctor, that refusal is a mechanism of control. It's not really about the monetary value of the seed pearls.
What is it about then? Just cruelty.
It's a profound denial of Kino and Coyotito's humanity. In his eyes, treating them for free would blur the lines of this caste system, a system that ensures his people stay on top, living in stone houses, while Kino's people remain a compliant, disposable labor force.
Wow. Okay, so desperate. Kino and Juana take their ancestral wooden canoe out into the Gulf. Kino has to dive. He feels he has to find a pearl valuable enough to force the doctor to look at his son.
But before he even dives, Juana does something crucial.
Right. She gathers brown seaweed and makes a natural poultice for the baby's swollen shoulder.
And the materials note that this indigenous remedy is highly effective, probably better than what the doctor would do.
But because it costs no money and requires no fancy doctor, they feel it lacks authority.
That detail is the linchpin of the whole tragedy, honestly. Juana utilizes ancestral knowledge to treat the venom. Meanwhile, Kino dives down and miraculously discovers the pearl of the world.
It's the size of a seagull's egg. Luminous and perfect.
Finding this pearl is like winning $1 billion lottery.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second. He brings it up to the canoe, the song of the pearls roaring in his head. But wait, at that exact moment, Juana points to the baby.
The swelling is going down.
The seaweed poultice worked. The baby is recovering. So,
Yeah.
Did they even need the pearl's magic at that point?
No, they didn't. The crisis was already averted by his wife's knowledge.
That is just wild.
It's the devastating illusion at the center of the story. The timeline of those two events fuses in Kino's mind.
He connects the two things.
Exactly. He conflates the material wealth of the pearl with the divine salvation of his child. He thinks the pearl is this magical cure-all.
A gateway to a protected life. But the pearl doesn't solve any problems, does it?
Not at all. It acts more like a massive flare fired into the night sky. It's basically alerting the entire town that someone vulnerable has just acquired something invaluable.
And the town's reaction is where Steinbeck's genius really shows. The town doesn't react like a group of individuals.
It's a fascinating metaphor from the text. They react like a single colonial animal.
Yeah, it's like a Portuguese man-o'-war. It looks like a single jellyfish, but it's actually thousands of individual organisms all synchronized by this single predatory instinct the second a fish touches a tentacle.
That is a perfect analogy. The infection of greed moves through the town's nervous system instantly.
Everyone stops what they're doing.
Right. Every single person projects their deepest, most selfish desires onto this piece of calcium carbonate.
The priest suddenly thinks about church repairs, right?
Yeah, and he wonders if Kino's marriage was ever formally paid for. The shopkeepers look at their unsold inventory and envision a naive customer. Beggars just know a newly rich poor man is an easy mark.
And the doctor, the same guy who basically called them animals, suddenly remembers Kino is his patient.
The audacity is incredible. He actually leaves his stone house, comes to the brush hut, and totally gaslights them.
He tells them the scorpion venom is deceptive, right? That it'll strike the baby's nervous system later.
Yeah, and he administers some mysterious white powder that intentionally makes the baby sick just so he can cure him an hour later.
And that whole charade is just a psychological trick to watch Kino's eyes. He wants to figure out where the pearl is buried in the dirt floor.
It's entirely predatory behavior, disguised as medical authority. The town is suffocating them. But amidst the circling swarm, Kino starts to project his own desires onto the pearl.
What does he actually want?
He envisions a future. He sees himself and Juana getting officially married in the church. He sees new clothes, a rifle.
A rifle's a big deal.
It is. But the pinnacle of his vision is his son, Coyotito, sitting at a desk, reading a book. Kino literally declares, "My son will read, and this will make us free."
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. I mean, comparing the town to a swarm of sharks smelling blood in the water. Is Kino's dream of buying a rifle just greed? Or is it like a defensive reaction to the town's sudden terrifying interest?
Oh, it's definitely a defensive reaction. You have to remember how the society works. For 4 centuries, the European descendants have maintained power by hoarding 2 specific things.
Violence and knowledge.
Exactly. A rifle strips away their monopoly on violence, and an education for Coyotito strips away their monopoly on knowledge.
Because literacy means he'll know what things are actually worth.
Right. He'll read the contracts, he'll understand the laws. When Kino demands an education for his son, he's no longer just a lucky laborer.
He becomes a threat.
An existential threat to the structural integrity of the entire town.
But to realize this dream of freedom, he has to turn the pearl into actual money. He has to cash the ticket.
And the system is completely rigged against him.
Kino goes to town to sell the pearl, followed by all his neighbors. And the scene in the buyer's office, it's this masterclass in market manipulation. The main buyer sits in his dark office, expertly rolling a coin across his knuckles to hide his excitement.
That coin trick is the perfect physical manifestation of the invisible hand of this economy. The town operates under the illusion of competition.
Right. There are multiple pearl buyers with different offices.
Supposedly competing for the diverse finds. But the reality is, it's a monopsony.
Meaning there's only one ultimate buyer.
Exactly. All of these agents secretly work for the same cartel boss. They collude to artificially lowball Kino.
It's brutal. Kino walks in knowing he holds a fortune, expecting 50,000 pesos. The buyer examines it and offers him a mere 1,000.
1,000 to 1,500 pesos for the pearl of the world.
And the gaslighting continues here. They bring in other agents. One calls it fool's gold. Another says it's a mere museum curiosity that will soon lose its color and die.
They are actively trying to make him doubt his own sanity. It's psychological warfare designed to breed compliance. They rely on his lack of formal education.
So what does this all mean? It's like playing at a rigged casino where the house literally owns every dealer. But honestly, let me push back here.
Sure, go ahead.
Kino was totally broke yesterday. He couldn't pay the doctor a few seed pearls. Why not just take the 1,500 pesos? Isn't he falling victim to his own pride here?
Well, what's fascinating here is what accepting that money actually means for Kino. It isn't just a bad business deal. If he takes that money, he has to look the buyer in the eye, knowing he is being robbed, and smile.
Oh, I see. He has to validate the lie.
Exactly. He has to accept his assigned place at the very bottom of this 400-year-old hierarchy. Refusing the offer isn't about pride. It's a desperate grasp for human dignity.
Taking the lowball offer means surrendering his son's future to the people who built the cage.
Precisely. So he chooses to defy the entire structure of his world. He announces he will bypass them and go to the capital to sell it.
And this defiance marks Kino as a rebel. The town's hidden, poisonous underbelly immediately strikes back to put him in his place.
The invisible hands of the market become literal fists in the dark. That very night, Kino is attacked outside his hut.
He barely fights them off. He gets this massive gash. And Juana, who has been quietly supportive, reaches her breaking point.
She begs him to crush the pearl between two stones, or throw it back into the sea. She calls it a sin and an evil that will destroy them.
But Kino refuses. He just says, I am a man.
He equates his obstinate grip on the pearl with his masculinity and his identity.
And things escalate tragically from there. Juana tries to sneak out to throw the pearl away. Kino catches her and he strikes her in the face.
It's a horrific moral decay.
He kicks her when she falls. The man who woke up listening to the gentle rhythm of his family is now physically brutalizing his wife over a rock.
He has completely lost sight of the actual family in his pursuit of the symbol of their future. And on his way back from the beach, he is attacked again.
And this time he kills a man in self-defense.
But self-defense doesn't exist for an indigenous man in this town. They have to flee. But then we hit the most devastating blow. Kino goes to launch his canoe, and someone has knocked a massive hole in the bottom.
The ultimate crime. The text explicitly states this is worse than killing a man, right?
Yes, because a boat cannot protect itself. It has no sons to avenge it, and it cannot heal. It's their only means of survival. And right after that, their house is burned to the ground.
Which brings up this powerful analogy, the sunk cost fallacy. Kino has already lost his moral compass. He's lost his home, his boat, he's beaten his wife. He's paid such a horrific price for this pearl that he feels he absolutely has to keep going.
He's entirely fused with the pearl now.
At this point, is the Song of the Pearl totally drowned out by the Song of Evil?
It definitely is. The text describes how Kino is changing. He is no longer a hopeful father. He is described as a hunted animal, moving with this cold, mechanical deadliness.
So having lost everything but the pearl and their lives, the family has no choice. They have to flee north into the harsh, unforgiving wilderness.
And the trackers follow them.
2 on foot, tracking like hounds, and 1 on horseback with a rifle. The very rifle Kino saw in his vision of the future.
It's relentless. They hide in a cave near a waterfall in the mountains.
Kino knows they'll spot them in the morning, so he strips off his white clothes so his dark skin blends with the night. He's sneaking down the sheer rock face to kill the trackers before the moon rises.
He becomes the apex predator he was forced to be, just waiting for the precise moment to strike.
But then, a devastating mistake. Just as Kino prepares to attack, Coyotillo lets out a small cry from the cave above.
And this is where the linguistic irony just shatters you. The tracker hears the noise, but he doesn't think it's a human baby. He thinks it's a coyote pup.
Because the baby's name, Coyotillo, literally means little coyote.
Steinbeck engineered this to show how the colonial system views this indigenous child, literally as an animal. The tracker fires his rifle toward the sound.
Kino turns into a killing machine. He slaughters all 3 men in seconds. But it's too late. The cry of death comes from the cave.
The very child Kino was trying to buy a future for has been killed by the weapon he dreamed of owning.
It is an absolute gut punch. And it leads to this haunting final image, Kino and Juana walking side by side back into La Paz.
Which is a stark change from their traditional walking order where he's in front.
Right. And Juana carries her shawl like a sack, heavy with the dead baby. They walk straight to the edge of the water.
The end of the pearl.
Kino looks into it one last time. And it's no longer beautiful. It's gray, ulcerous, and reflects the image of his son with his head blown off. He hands it to Juana, but she insists he must be the one to throw it.
It's his burden to release.
So he hurls it back into the ocean, it sinks, and its song finally fades.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it perfectly aligns with Thomas Uyar's note in the preface. Steinbeck sings a song of real hope, not rose-tinted hope.
So the illusion is just shattered.
Completely. The illusion of sudden salvation is destroyed, leaving only the grim reality of survival.
Wow. We started this journey talking about a miraculous lottery ticket, a simple pearl that promised education, freedom, and joy.
But instead, it exposed the systemic rot of a society.
Yeah, and it drove a good man to commit horrific acts, ultimately costing him the one thing he loved most.
It's incredibly bleak, but it demands that we reflect on it.
Absolutely. So, to you listening, think about the pearls in your own life, those sudden opportunities or material desires that seem like they will miraculously solve all your problems. Are they actually bringing the song of the family to your life?
Or are they subtly introducing the song of evil?
Exactly. Changing who you are just to hold on to them.
And consider this one final, lingering question drawn from the text. Was the pearl itself actually cursed? Or is human society simply structured in such a way that it will violently destroy anyone who tries to rise above their assigned station?
That's a heavy thought.
Perhaps the true tragedy isn't that Kino found the pearl, that he lived in a world that made demanding a better life a literal death sentence.